Hi everyone. So it is day 5 of the Talk, Trust and Feel Summit. And I thought, you know what, let me summarize a little bit and also maybe you get to know me a little bit better. And I'll tell you a little bit more about why we are doing the summit. And I'm going to just go through what the speakers have been bringing and what we have learned from it. Because I know most of you wouldn't have had time to actually finish watching every single one. So, first of all, before I carry on, let me just move this thing. There we go. So, before we carry on, I want to tell you that I am an adult child specialist, but what I don't do is I don't advertise myself much as an adult child specialist because most people have no clue what it is. My clients who come to me because their marriages, their relationships are falling apart. They have the same repetitive relationships over and over. They have bad relationships with their families. They, they are sometimes estranged from their children, or they are over involved in other people's lives, but not in their own. They have a vague discomfort inside them that something is wrong and they don't quite know what. And a lot have social anxiety, and there's very often addictions of any kind, whether it's workaholic or food or other addictions, or we are in relationships with people who have addictions. So people come to me with those problems. And therefore, you will see that I say I'm a self-esteem expert because I had to become one. Because adult children do not have self-esteem. I had no self-esteem. I thought I had because I am accomplished. I can do a million things, and I felt really good about every single thing that I can do. But inside, I didn't feel good. And that is one of the things that we will see over and over and over through many of our speakers, that we have made our lives so much about what we are for other people and really about shining in our careers because we found something that we are good at. That was our saving grace. And we became completely enmeshed in that. Sorry. So then people come to me because I still have social problems. And people eventually, when everything else fails, the relationships fails. They are deeply unsatisfying and they are unsupported, they are unconnected, and we have this big hole inside of ourselves. And even when nobody's ever asked you that in your life, to ask you where's the hole inside yourself, you're going to find it. And it's about filling up that hole. That is my job. That's my job. I'm a hole filler. I help you to find the best ways in which you can become easy inside yourself so that you can be easy in the world and so that you can radically change all your relationships and so that you can have that life that you deserve, even if you don't believe as yet that you are worthy of it. Okay, that's a big thought. Let it sink in for a minute. Now, when I look at all the recordings, and I was very blessed when I've talked to these amazing people. Most of them have come from trauma. Some have had enormous trauma. I mean, if you've watched Tammy's story, wow. And if you have watched Tashni, and if you have watched, I'm going to tell you now, then there are big traumas, big traumas, and there are smaller traumas, but they're all trauma. Trauma feels the same. Trauma have the same physiological reactions inside all of us. And we we can't run away from it, but we can ignore it. And we can brush it aside and we can work it away or eat another chocolate. We can become enmeshed in a relationship and not pay attention to ourselves. We can put our focus outside of ourselves, which is what virtually all of us do. We find something outside of ourselves, whether it's headbanging in a Metallica club or whether it is um, becoming addicted to something or overworking or doing too much sport or being so focused on our children that there's no space for us in our lives. We all find a way to pretend to ourselves that our trauma doesn't matter, but it does. And we have to start with awareness. So our speakers all became aware eventually that their lives were not working and they made big changes. So let's look at a few more big. Oh, I was talking about Janine Naus because Janine Naus' story is also. You have to watch it. This is all I can tell you. You have to watch it, just like you have to watch everybody else, because everybody else have a story that if you start listening, it's not all heavy because everybody had a transformation and everybody is giving hope. So I'm not going to give you all 20 speakers' names, and please forgive me, all of you. But I want you really to watch all of them because, wow, transformation. And this is what we are after, to actually have so much that we can go out and help other people, and they are all helping other people now. But let's just look at some of the effects that we've had from suppressing what happened to us. And our awareness as we went back, this is really what's happened, is that please remember the speakers are recounting afterwards, not in the moment while they were experiencing. They were just going through life, doing the best they can, taking responsibility for themselves, taking responsibility for other people. And so when we start going back, one of the first things that we find out is this. We have grown up way before we should have. We were children and we were acting like little adults. We took care of our siblings. We got ourselves grown up. We did, but here's the biggest challenge. It's nice, it looks responsible, but we didn't have emotional needs for ourselves. That's the thing that differentiated from good behavior into a traumatic experience. When you don't feel like you can take your emotions to another person, like Chris when his brother died and he thought he was guilty. If you cannot do that, you cannot go to somebody and say, I feel so bad, I feel so terrible, I feel so much shame. My heart is broken. I am a worthless, terrible person because I did this, or this happened to me. This hard experience. I lost a parent. My father left us. He didn't want me anymore. I wasn't important enough for him to stay. You have nowhere to go because your mother is falling apart in front of your eyes. You become her rescuer. And these are the examples that we see in every single story. And in our own lives, if we go and ask ourselves, who did I take responsibility for? And it's very easy. Until today, you cannot go to your parents and say, I've had this experience. It made me who I am today. And I know there's more of me and I'm growing. But if I had that experience, I couldn't go to you. I'm not blaming you. I'm just telling you. I took a responsibility for you because you fell apart in front of me and I stopped having needs. Who can say this? So few of us can say it. And there's huge freedom in that. But so few of us can say it, but we lived it. And we don't have to anymore. We can express it, even if we express it to a counselor or a coach or to somebody else who understands. To be in a club, a group, somewhere where somebody else is there and I'm not the only one. Somebody else understands. We have to learn to start expressing these little hurts and big hurts and work through them by talking through them and writing through them and understanding them and making them just our story, and they will stop, these hurts will stop running our lives. So, very important. We became little adults before we were supposed to. We were nowhere in our own queue. And this is just a pattern that we continue for life. We are just the parent of everyone. We are just the adult of everyone. We just care for everyone. And where are you? Where are you? Because you have to be there. If you're not there, who's taking care of you? And that's where the resentment comes. If nobody's taking care of you, that's where the resentments come. And we are in the hamster wheel relationships. And it's not good because we keep on coming back to the same point because we don't have the tools to go past the hamster wheel relationships. We are just in that same continuous role. So we are little adults before we're supposed to be. And the second part is we give away our voice. It's that scenario which I explained. I don't go and say I have wants and needs. I'm severely criticized. I'm so severely criticized that or judged or made wrong for not liking green ice cream that I give up my voice. I wake up one morning, my mother is dead, nobody said anything. And I just found that she's not there. And everybody acts like it's normal. Because then I stopped trusting myself because it's so not normal for me, but everybody else is acting like it's normal. So how can I trust? And by the way, it's my mistake. I must have been doing something wrong, otherwise she wouldn't have died. That's the kind of thing that children think and believe. And so we give up our voice, and then we start having shame. We start having shame, and remember, we are not born that way. We are born with big voices. Big voices. We are born without shame. We have big voices and we give them away little bit. And it's hard when you're an adult and you don't have a voice. You may have a voice with people near to you. You may have a voice about the stuff that you're accomplished at and passionate about. But do you have a voice about your inner needs? Well, that is if you actually know about it. So then let's still go to the next one. Okay, so our developmental stages, when we are interrupted, our lives are interrupted. That's it. If there is a trauma, our lives are interrupted. If a caregiver is not there for us or don't have the skills, the tools, a young teenage mother, or a mother who's grieving, or a dad who's alcoholic, or people are emotionally not available. They are there. They're going through emotions. They're feeding you. But they never hug you. And they never tell you they love you. Or even worse, they tell you how unwanted you are. Your developmental stages are interrupted. These are very easy. You can go and look them up. What are all the developmental stages that a child should have, a baby should have, a toddler should have? There's bonding. You have to start with bonding. If you don't bond, you have lifelong trauma from it. It impacts you and your health and everything in your life if you did not complete the bonding stages. You have to do the separation stages. You have to separate from your parents. They have to trust you now. They have to give you freedom to go crawl another 2-3 meters and then walk a little bit further and go and stay over with friends and go and learn how to be separate from them in the world. They have to trust you. They have to not tell you every single thing that you have to think, should do, should not do. They have to let you make decisions within boundaries, within a reason, which are age appropriate. And if they don't let you separate from them, you are then enmeshed with your parents. You need their approval lifelong, even if it's only in your head. If you know your parents are not going to approve, you will not do something. So that's huge, to be enmeshed with your parents because they didn't allow you to separate from them. So next developmental stages, you cannot go and be a successful teenager if you have not done your first developmental stages really well. You haven't finished them. And then you're a difficult teenager. Then you become a people pleaser, or you become a perfectionist, or you become a rebel. And you can still be a perfectionistic rebel too. You can have a mix of all of these. And then you go forth into your adulthood and you still have not finished your developmental stages. And then we call you an adult child. You're an adult, but you are bringing unfinished business with you. And you're going to be taking it out on the world around you. And it's going to show best in your relationships. It's going to show your patterns in your relationships. It's unavoidable. You cannot miss it. If you want to know more, my book, where is it? Hamster Wheel Relationships for Women and Men and everybody else is about self-empowerment and becoming very aware of all of these patterns. And it does describe everything, how it happens, and also gives you an enormous amount of tools, which is boundaries and self-love and all of this stuff, difficult conversations, being self-centered, taking care of your own needs. So it gives you immeasurable amount of information that you may not have had as a child growing up because your parents didn't have it. Okay, look at another thing. Okay, all right. So the last thing which I want to talk about from our summit is this, that nearly every speaker have lost their identity. They didn't know who they were. They had to find out who they are. And it was a process. And it can be done. Because somewhere as a child, we gave that we are there and important and exist. Some of us were invisible. Some of us were extensions of our parents. Where our parents stopped, we started. And they couldn't see us as separate from them. So we had the identity they created for us. But all of us have to find out in adulthood, what do we really believe? What is really good for us? What is better tools? What is better outlooks? What is better habits? And where's my missing tools already? Because you guys didn't give me tools, I need to find my own tools. We have to get real with the situation, and we have to make sure that we start doing it for ourselves. So this is what the summit is all about, to create awareness of this pattern. It's an adult child syndrome, you can look it up, but I know a lot of people don't like the word syndrome, so call it adult child pattern, but you can't look that up. Adult child it's real. It's been researched for many years. There are resources available now, but it's hard. We have blind spots. So keep on watching. Look at all the summit recordings if you can. I've got loads of free training every single week, and I really want to invite you. Sign up. Please follow me. Sign up for my newsletters. Get involved. Put yourself first. This is what this summit is about. Put yourself first. Pay attention to yourself. Then you too can become like our speakers, self-empowered and so full that you have to give it to somebody else, that you want to help other people. I'm so passionate about it, and I hope that you too will be passionate about it. And I hope too that you too will spread the word to other people, because you know other people who need this. And let us make the world more aware of the stuff that we walk around. 70 to 80% of the world have adult child syndrome. I mean, that's big. So will you help me? Lots of love to everybody. Thank you all for attending the summit and making it so special. The Zoom recordings were out of this world. I hope you saw all of them. If you've got the lifetime upgrade, then you will have all the Zoom recordings too. Plus, you are invited to the next free masterclasses for free. And we will continue talking about these subjects, which are so important, and yet so few people know about it. Lots of love to you. And enormously big thanks for the generosity of our speakers and for the vulnerability and being so open and answering every single question that I had of them openly, because they want to help you. Big love. Bye-bye.